In this video, we're going to be talking about what every single win would do for Islam's legacy. And I'm really just talking about his next win. Because if I'm Islam, I would retire after my next win. I'm just saying. And before I even get into this video, let's get one thing straight. I want Islam to be the GOAT. I want him to clean his plate and keep his legacy afloat. But at this rate, I'm just never going to gloat. Because he'll get hate after choking Michael in the throat. Side note, this bar wasn't on the plan. But Morales should already be used to getting choked on by a man. Yeah, baby. Yeah. What, you thought that wasn't gonna do rap, brother? Nah, guys, but for real, guys, listen, I know there's a lot of mixed opinions, so in this video I'm gonna break it down. Like, I'm gonna be going through his next potential matchups, because I think there's like 5 people who could potentially get the shot. We have to see. I think there's one that I want, not because the person's deserving, and you guys already know this, but I'll explain why. So in this video, I'm gonna go through every single potential next matchup for Islam, and I'll tell you guys what I think would do it. What would it do for Islam's legacy, long term and short term? Without further ado, let's get into it. Starting with the most popular one, Michael Morales. Long term, this does nothing for him. Appreciation short term. So I feel like when this happens, like right away, people might be like, okay, that's cool. Yeah, we beat him. 2 months later, well, this is when it starts. We'll celebrate it afterwards. Yeah, we beat Michael Morales. Who does that to Morales, man? He's just unproven and untested, though. And like, Islam has a clear path to victory here. And I know Islam's going to follow through on his clear path to victory and probably just smother him and take him down and finish him. But after that happens, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Then they'll be like, wait, his best wins are Brady and Magny. And didn't Brady lose to Bilal? And Bilal's they're going to start to like nitpick at stuff. And I know they're going to do this. And I like Morales, guys, but like the way he fights, like how explosive he is. He reminds me of Khalil Roundtree. You know, it starts really well. He's explosive, but he can't fight like that for 25 minutes. So in a championship fight, if he starts getting like after losing to Islam, if he starts getting like 5-round fight nights, main events, he's going to lose to these people because his endurance is probably not going to hold up. And then all of a sudden, you know, that win for Islam wasn't that good. That's why I'm saying long term, it really does nothing for Islam's legacy. So if Islam, say he beats Morales, he's like, I have nothing else to prove really, and retires, congrats. You're not the solidified GOAT. Now, I could already say Islam's a GOAT. And it could still be argued. Like, people can see it, be like, oh, I don't know, John Jones. You know, I'm GSP did. I don't know, you know, this, that, and the third. This is not going to help solidify the GOAT spot. So, like, I guess with me, like, I want to see Islam become the GOAT. I understand not a lot of people care to see Islam become the GOAT because either they don't like Islam or they just don't care about Islam as much as I do. But, like, me personally, I want to see him become the GOAT. And I know beating Morales is doing nothing long-term, but, like, short-term, it might satisfy some people. But then again, there's going to be those people short-term who see Morales get taken down and just destroyed, and they'll be like, yeah, well, to be honest, who has Morales even beat? They're going to, like, some people short-term aren't even going to appreciate it, you know, but I know there's going to be, I want to say majority. It depends how Islam looks in the fight. If Islam looks like how I think he'll look against Morales, I don't think that much people are going to appreciate it. Some people might be like, oh, just how good is Islam? But I feel like majority, if Islam does what I think he's going to do, they're going to be like, well, who is Morales even beat? And then it's going to go into that loophole that we all know we can't avoid. So, listen, beating Morales long-term does nothing. In short-term, you might get appreciation. But even then, is like, for legacy, it does like virtually nothing for Islam Makhachev, unfortunately. But that's just the truth of the situation. So, do I want Islam to fight Morales next? No. Is Morales the most deserving on paper? Sure. Why not? Give it to him. Maybe not even on paper. I think there's other people more deserving. But, like, I do understand that's where the hype is, because who beat Sean Brady by finish? Unless your name's Bilal. I get that. But, like, I don't know, man. I just think people are pushing this to an extent. But if you guys want it so bad, get it. You know, like, I know it does nothing for Islam long-term in his legacy, but I'll try to gaslight myself that if Islam gets to win, like, oh, Morales is the best of all time. You know, I'll try to push propaganda, even though I don't mean it. I'll let you guys know right now I don't mean it. So if you see me pushing propaganda after Islam beats Morales, if the fight gets booked, like, Morales is one of the best ever, just know I'm doing it to glaze Islam. I don't mean a single word I'm saying. As long as you know that, that's cool. But like I said, I always back Islam, but I just want to see Islam go into a fight where, like, stylistically he's going to be a challenge and it'll prove his legacy. This is just not the fight for me. Maybe people have different opinions. Maybe people think down below that Morales is the GOAT and shit. And if you do, I'll back you. Sure. Only if Islam gets a fight booked. Until then, I'm going to keep saying the truth about him. But if Islam gets booked against him, I'm going to flip my tune a little bit. I'm going to be like, no, what? Morales he's deserving. And, like, if Islam beats him, he's the GOAT. Like, that's what I'll say. But for now, I'm telling you the truth. Moving on, though, from Morales, we got Calls Prates, nothing long term and nothing short term. It's just because Islam has a really clear path to victory, and his best win's Leon Edwards. Not a bad win. We've seen him lose to prospects already. At least Morales has like something undefeated thing going around him. Prates already lost to Garry, you know. Sure, winning against Neil, not about to say Neil Magny. Jeff Neal is good, you know, but like losing around to Edwards via his grappling is good, I guess, you know. He did knock out Edwards when Edwards stopped grappling and started getting in his head mentally, but you know, if you're getting controlled by Leon Edwards for like 3 minutes, dude, good luck. Like, I know what happens when Islam fights you. So I know it does nothing for him long term or short term. People are even saying Prates is more deserving than Usman. I think it's kind of funny, but maybe they think Prates would do something for Islam's legacy. You know, I do understand not everyone thinks like me. Like, not everyone cares about Islam's legacy, but I do. I know that's weird to, like, maybe people, well, why do you care about his legacy so much? Because I like him. I know not everyone loves Islam, but I do. So fuck. I like, Prates fight would just piss me off, honestly. You know, and I know Islam would win it, so maybe I should be saying like I want to see Islam fight him, but I don't necessarily care to see Islam get easy wins. Kind of like how I feel about Volk. Like, Volk fighting Lopez pisses me off more than anything. If Islam was booked against Prates, it just pissed me off more than anything. But at least Islam's gonna get a win. I just don't think it does anything for his legacy, long or short term. I feel like short term people are gonna watch the fight and they'll be like, okay, well we knew this was gonna happen, dude. The stupid, yeah, we knew that, man. And you know, and then long term, I just know Prates is very beatable. Like, Ian Garry schooled this guy just off of letting his hands go. Prates is so low output. He always looks for that one shot. Sometimes it works. I'll give him that. But against someone like a grappler like Islam, he's gonna get taken out and fucking humped brutally, dude. Whatever happens, happens. Sure, if they book this one, like I said, right now I'll tell the truth. But if they book Prates, I'll be like, yo, Prates knocked out Leon Edwards. No one has ever done that. Yeah, baby, yeah. I'm gonna start just gaslighting and glazing, like I'll do with everyone. But like, honestly speaking, I don't think Prates is a hard fight for Islam. I think it does nothing for Islam's legacy. But if the fight gets booked, maybe I switch my tune. But that's neither here or there. Moving on from Prates, Ian Garry. This is actually all right long term, and I think appreciation short term, because Ian Garry is a unique set of skills. He's 6'3", going to be the tallest, lankiest guy Islam's ever faced. So that's like a new challenge for Islam, I feel like. I do think Islam still has a clear path to victory. Like, we've seen Ian Garry, you know, struggle against in some grappling instances against Shavkat Rakhmonov, who's really a overrated wrestler, especially if we're being honest, like very overrated. Like, he couldn't take down Wonder Boy. I'm gonna save that for when I get to Shavkat, because I do talk about him later. But yeah, Gary's still good. Like, he's very unique. I think his striking's pretty solid. I think like against Prates, he showed a little bit of like endurance problem, you know, so maybe this little bit interesting in a 5-round fight with Islam, you know, this is a lot of things I've noticed from Ian Garry. He's really good though. I'll give him that. I think he's one of the best, if not the top 3 welterweight in the world right now. His best wins are Prates and Bilal. Those are 2 good wins. You know, Bilal win was very close. I thought the Bilal fight was very close, but he did what he had to do against Bilal. I know some people might be like, well, Ian Garry Bilal couldn't take down Ian Garry, so Ian Garry's going to do the same to Islam Makhachev. I said this before the JDM fight against Islam. Bilal and Islam aren't the same wrestlers. I don't know why, like, when I was debating bedtime, he tried to, like, kept bringing up Bilal, like Bilal's the same fighter as Islam. And I was trying to explain to him, like, just because they both have a grappling background doesn't make them the same. I know some people might be like, if Ian Garry stuffed all Bilal's takedowns, so he's going to stuff all Islam's takedowns. That's not going to happen. Just like they thought since JDM, Bilal couldn't take down JDM, he's not going to, you know, it's not how shit works. Islam's a different kind of grappler, and Ian Garry's just so tall and lanky. And when you get someone tall and lanky on the ground, it's like these Dagestani people's dreams, because they'll end up submitting you really quick. Shout out Dan Hooker, like a lengthy opponent Islam went against. It's not even that Dan Hooker is horrible on the ground. Like, you know, Armin Sarukian didn't submit him, but Armin Sarukian got a finish by ground and pound. But the thing about Islam, he was like, let me just take this guy down and submit him, because he's just so long and like lanky and kind of skinny. He's just perfect for me. You know, Ian Garry's even longer. Pause. Hey, see, man, this is the problem. He's a little bit longer, brother. He's a little bit longer, you know, so it's going to be a very quick night. I can see it going similar to the Dan Hooker fight, actually. Just taking him down and submitting him. It's going to be that easy, in my opinion. Ian Garry's pretty good with his grappling, but brother, you know, you're not Dagestan level. You're not our level. So I wouldn't be surprised if it ends quickly, or even if it's elongated. I do think Ian Garry's going to fade. I do think Islam has better endurance, but I do think the striking's an interesting matchup, because like I said, Ian Garry is a lot taller and longer than a lot of people Islam has won against. So that could be interesting, like a little puzzle. But I think once it hits the floor, a little bit problem. Like Shavkat, I can't believe how well Shavkat was controlling Ian Garry with his overrated grappling. But I do think it'll be all right long term, because even if he does lose to Islam, I think Ian Garry's pretty solid. He can beat other people in the division, and like he'll beat like a Morales. He'll beat he already beat Prates. He'll beat like a lot of up and comers. He'll beat Buckley probably. He just beats a lot of people in my opinion. So I think it's gonna age well, So I think it's all right long term. But I don't think Ian Garry's ever been. Will he become champion? Maybe actually. Maybe there's potential with him. So I do think all right long term and appreciation short term. I actually like this matchup better than like a Morales and a Prates because I feel like it just does more for Islam's legacy. So I actually wouldn't mind this matchup. Honestly, it's not Islam's hardest challenge, but I do think Gary's more proven and just better than both Prates and Morales right now. So I'm not mad at the matchup. I'm not mad at the match. So I'll let it rock if they ever announce this. I'm saying right before the fight, it'll be an interesting challenge, not a tough one, but an interesting one for Islam. And after the fight or when the fight gets booked, I'll say more of the same. It's gonna be an interesting one, tough one. Not tough, but like interesting one until it hits the floor. So yeah, Ian Garry, he's all right. I'm actually not mad if this gets booked. Moving on from Ian Garry though. Shavkat Rakhmonov, that man gives me chills, He gives me chills, Something about him. Listen, I think it's solid long term, and I think it's questionable short term because in this instance, I'm talking about people like for Islam's first defense. The only reason it would be questionable if like Shavkat gets fast tracked is because like he's been really inactive. But I do think he's a tough matchup because like he's a good striker, he's durable, and he's not a great grappler, but like. He can gaslight people. He's a great grappler because he has wins over like Garry and Wonderboy. And I know Wonderboy, he went like maybe like, I don't know, like 1 for 15. I'm exaggerating, but I remember him against Wonderboy, spent a lot of time trying to complete a double leg and a single leg against the fence. And Wonderboy was just stuffing all those takedowns with very like really like a lot of ease. But once he got Wonderboy down, he kind of weared him out and choked him. That was great. And then Ian Garry, he was controlling Ian Garry for a majority of the fight. Until he got reversed by Ian Garry and almost choked out. Yeah, Islam has a clear path to victory. Islam's gonna love the grappling, and I feel like Shavkat's dumb enough to think he can grapple with him and get himself submitted. I still see clips of Shavkat like making sure he can walk right and stuff, and like doing exercises to strengthen his leg. So if he suddenly comes back and fights Islam, it's just questionable short term. I feel like people won't even look at it for real. Like, bro, what? You beat someone who like can barely walk. Long term it might be all right. I don't know. Shavkat, I hope he doesn't come back and just suck, because that would suck. That would be horrible. But if Shavkat could come back and still be good, it'll be solid long term for Islam Makhachev. I feel like overall, like I don't mind this matchup. Maybe Shavkat has to win a couple first, but if it happens, it happens. I can't like cry over spilled milk. I just don't care to see it right now. But let Shavkat come back and get some wins, and Abdallah, brother, I'm liking this. But for now, it's questionable short term. But if Shavkat comes back, beats someone, looks good, I think it's solid long term, and it's going to be appreciated short term. I keep saying short term. Short term. There you go, baby. Fuck, man. My fucking vocabulary. All right, moving on from Shavkat, who I think is going to be a good matchup if he gets some wins under his belt. This is the last but not least, guys. Kamaru Usman, perfect long term, Perfecto. And questionable short term. I keep saying questionable. The reason I'm saying questionable is because there's 2 reasons it's questionable. Reason 1, they're going to try to discredit Usman before the fight, regardless of the outcome. Reason 2, I know like Usman's going to make this really hard for Islam Makhachev. Usman's going to make it really hard. So I feel like people are going to question how good Islam is after it, because they're a little bit slow and they don't see what I see. They don't understand that Usman's actually like a really hard matchup stylistically for him. Like everyone I mentioned, guys, Shavkat can get out grappled like to an oblivion. Ian Garry out grappled to oblivion. Prates out grappled to oblivion. Same Morales. Him, not so much. This is where problem commences, because Islam's whole game plan, people say he strikes a lot more than Khabib. He just uses his striking to set up his wrestling a lot more than Khabib. Whereas Khabib is a little bit like, let me just literally walk forward and like throw one thing just to go into the takedown. Islam trusts himself a little bit to like strike, and then go for the grappling, which makes his grappling effective in a way. I don't want to say more effective than Khabib, because Khabib was just a better overall grappler against the fence and completing his takedowns. But, it's going to be really difficult. And the only difficult fights I've ever seen Islam in was Volkanovski, Dustin. And one thing people don't understand what those fights had in common is that Dustin started stuffing takedowns and stuff like getting up and making it hard. Same with Volk. That's the only common denominator for Islam with hard fights. Have you guys not noticed that? Like, I hope you guys don't think Islam has hard fights only on the feet. Like, Islam has hard fights when he's forced to stand, when he goes for those takedowns and fails. And now he's starting to slow down, and these guys are still in his face. Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier wasn't a hard fight, but Dustin Poirier had moments in like the fourth when he would stuff those takedowns and stay in Islam's face. Same with Volkanovski. He would stuff the takedowns, stay in Islam's face. People thought the JDM fight was going to be hard because he was going to stuff the takedowns and stay in his face, but he was not stuffing those takedowns and he was not getting up. Usman would stuff those takedowns and Usman would get up. One thing about Usman, the Hamza fight you could even see on 10 days notice on a weight class he's never been in his entire life against a killer like Hamza, who's a way better offensive grappler in my opinion than Islam Makhachev. He would get up and be in Hamza's face. That's why he was still in those rounds. And he wasn't just in Hamza's face. He was throwing bombs, sending Hamza flying across the octagon. Usman's a big dude. He would be in Islam's face, not only just standing there doing nothing, he will be throwing bombs. It's going to be Islam's hardest fight. People could try to act like they don't know what I'm talking about, and God forbid this fight gets booked and you see what I'm talking about, and then all of a sudden, even if Islam wins but it's a close fight, they're going to start questioning him, like, is Islam even good? Was JDM just ass? But they're going to start all these ass tricks trying to like gaslight themselves like that they don't think Usman's good because, oh, Usman only beat Buckley though. Buckley sucks. If Buckley won, he was supposed to be fighting Islam for the title. Just letting you guys know. People don't understand this because people forget this. I'm telling you right now, the welterweight GOAT who just smoked a prospect like Buckley does way more for his legacy and resume, and it's not even close. If Usman was coming off like a loss or something, if he didn't just 49-46, damn near 50-45 Buckley, I would understand why people be like, oh, over like a split decision over Buckley, maybe I can understand that. But even if he beats Buckley, period, you can see he's still that guy, you know, especially after that robbery decision draw that should have been a draw against Hamza Chimaev, who's the best 185er in the world, you know, on 10 days notice for Usman. So listen, they could try to act like this doesn't do the most for his legacy, but objectively speaking, I think everyone knows when you look at facts and look at stylistic matchup and look at resume, we know Usman's the best for Islam's legacy. You just don't want Usman to get it because maybe you guys are scared. I don't know. Like maybe you're a little bit nervous. Brother, let Islam beat the welterweight GOAT and solidify his GOAT status. This literally solidifies him as GOAT because no one can say Usman's washed. They'll be like, but look at his last two fights. He beat Buckley and lost to Hamza. That's not a bad last two fights in my opinion. You know, that's just the most recent things we've seen from him, and that's not bad. You know, you can't go back, oh, but look at 4 years ago when he lost to Leon Edwards from a head kick, okay? Like, we're going to start looking back years and years and say, oh, he lost to this guy by a head kick, so you guys can do what you want. At the end of the day, you know stylistically, he could take down and fuck. Yo, he could take down and hump. Yo, he could take down and do what he wants. With Ian Garry, with Prates, with Morales, he can't do it with Usman. You know it. You could try to gaslight yourself if you don't. And I'm okay with you gaslighting yourself. As long as you know you're still stupid and you just know you don't believe what you're saying. That's fine. If you think he's going to do that to Usman, book the fight. Let's see what happens. I know he's going to have the hardest fight, and I know he could beat Usman, which is why I want to see that fight happen. And win or lose, I don't even care who wins or loses this. Matter of fact, if Usman wins, I'm going to laugh at all the people who said Usman had no chance and would get ragdolled and would get destroyed. Or Islam's going to just outstrike him for 25 minutes. Book it then. If Islam's forced to strike for 25 minutes, I've never seen him forced to strike for 25 minutes and not struggle. What fights will he force to strike? Name the two fights. Dustin and Islam. Dustin and Volk. Did he struggle in those fights? I'll let you answer that yourself. Let me know what you guys think down below. That's it for me. God bless. 2, 3, 4.